I was born a mother. I've always been a mother. In fact, I was a mother long before I even knew what being a mother was. Most of my life, I was either helping someone or taking care of someone or responsible for someone. So being one tough mother was just a natural progression for me. Well, directly out of high school, I married a military man. He was a young man who was going into the military. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to get out of where I lived. It was a small town, and I wanted to see so many other things. And college really wasn't for me. I wanted to experience things. I wanted to be creative. Who knew that by the age of 28, I'd have four small children and at 30, a very toxic marriage. So I left my toxic marriage and decided to become a single mother. I was lucky enough to have some place to go. I moved into my parents' house. We lived, all five of us, in two rooms upstairs. And of course, we had the whole house. But I looked for a job. I had no education, so I was a waitress, a bartender, a mail delivery person. I went to the bank. I worked as a receptionist in a bank. I worked in a car dealership. And eventually, I went into radio. I voiced over a lot of commercials. I wrote and produced commercials as well as sold airtime. We struggled financially. We struggled a lot because there was some ridiculous law about getting food stamps, and I was denied food stamps the entire way. But then one day, this woman came in and she was talking to me, and she said to me, had I ever heard of a program for single mothers where you could buy a house through the government? The government would give you a loan with no interest, and you could buy a home. So I went to the office and I filled out mountains of paperwork and I waited and I waited, and eventually we got the loan. Now suddenly I'm a homeowner. So against all disbelief and negative opinions about how are you going to afford a home once you get into the home, how are you going to fix things in the home, all the self-doubt and fear I had about being a homeowner and having four small children, being a single mother, it didn't matter. I did it. I owned a home for my four kids. And I remember the day I closed. It was actually on my birthday. And I stood on, it was in the winter, it was snowing, and I stood on the front sidewalk. And I remember the attorney saying to me, you own from the ground to as far up as you can see. And I thought, it's amazing. I own this home. So that was it. And as my children grew, I concentrated on my career. I learned everything I could. My big deal is to try to learn as much as you can. Don't box yourself into anything. Do from the ground up. Start with scrubbing dishes if you have to, but learn everything that you can. Life is a learning lesson. I mean, you have to keep learning to get anywhere you want to go in life. So I learned to do more and more in radio. Eventually, I became an in-house agency for a very big company, and I started buying and doing schedules for radio, television, print, outdoor. I did everything. I was an in-house agency. I worked with the WWE and the WWF. I worked with NASCAR. I was invited to the Grammys. I did stuff at the Grammys. I worked with Sharon and Ozzy Osbourne's cast members of The Sopranos. I did stuff with the Jersey Shore. I did so many things, and it was with the help of other people. The more I asked, the more I learned, and the more people wanted to help me. So that helped me grow my career into what was really successful and fun. I worked with NBC, Fox, CBS. I had a $50 million budget that I was responsible for. I was placing schedules. I was doing media. I was writing and producing the commercials with a crew. It was just the best time ever. I did so much. I worked with Howard and Opie and Anthony, the radio chick, Scott and Todd, you name it. And eventually I just enjoyed what I was doing, and my children grew. So in 2012, I was out with my son, and someone came up to me, my oldest son, and someone came up to me and asked my advice or something in the store. And my son said, you know what, Mom, you ought to write an advice column. Everybody asks your advice, and they ought to know what a tough mother you really were when we were growing up. So kind of as a joke, kind of like just as a hobby, I started One Tough Mother. I went home and spoke to a friend of mine who made me a very inexpensive website, and I started an advice column. I didn't really advertise it. I did a little bit on social media, like come and ask for good old fashioned motherly advice. And I I had trademarked be afraid, be very afraid. It's about to get real because I was going to give real advice if somebody wanted it. Well, one morning I woke up to the fact that a website critic critiqued me as Dear Abby on steroids. And my column skyrocketed. In fact, my first column was hacked into, and I lost a couple thousand letters easily. And we tried everything, and I could only get like maybe 400 or 500 of those back. So then I got another website with a bigger column and more security. And the next thing I know, it flourished. I was getting letters from women all over the place, letters from women or girls as young as 12 and as old as 65, 70. You know, some of the letters were real common sense type questions. One letter I remember specifically when young girl was like, you know, I'm 12 years old and I want a cell phone. And my mom said I can't have a cell phone, but everybody else's mother says they can have a cell phone. What should I do? I said, listen to your mom. She said, you can't have a cell phone. Another one that really got to me was I got a letter from a 15-year-old, 14-year-old, 15-year-old girl. And it seems that her mother was a single mother and they had to move a lot because of financial reasons. And she was overweight and she couldn't fit in no matter where they went. She felt like she was alone. She couldn't fit in. Kids looked at her and made fun of her. And she wanted to kill herself. And I said, please, don't do that. Don't, you know, just write me and tell me you're okay. Write me and tell me that, you know, you're gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. And I never heard back from her. It was pretty bad. I was pretty upset about that. So from that moment on, the letters were extremely important to me. I wanted to help everyone I could. It became important to me to answer those letters. I'd work all day, 10, 12 hours, and I'd come home and stay up all night to answer the letters that I was receiving. Though my career and my children were flourishing and everything was wonderful, my personal life wasn't. I seemed to not do very well in the personal department. 2 failed marriages and a suicide by someone I loved left me questioning my own existence, left me questioning who I was and if anything I was doing was of any importance or if it meant anything to anyone else. I mean, regardless of my personal struggles, though, I could not stop answering the letters. The letters were important to me. The women counted on me. And it's apparent to me now that answering their letters and helping them was truly just helping me. It was helping me get through a lot of my own personal struggles and a lot of things that I was going through that I couldn't seem to figure out. So One Tough Mother was purely my purpose. It was surely what I was meant to do. Women would write me telling me that when they'd get a One Tough Mother shirt, which I'd send them if they had, you know, breast cancer or domestic violence, if there was problems and they needed strength, I'd send them a One Tough Mother t-shirt and they'd put it on. They'd say they felt suddenly strong and powerful and they felt like they could do it and they were whole again. And the t-shirt became a huge part of what One Tough Mother was. I built the One Tough Mother Army. It was the Tough Mother Army, and women all over the world were receiving t-shirts. I was just sending them to them. My mother, who we call Mail Manager Mom, used to say, are you going to ever sell any of these shirts? And I'd say, someday I'll sell shirts, but right now these women need it. So the power was in the shirt. They felt like they were getting power from me somehow. So it was important for me to make sure that they had a shirt. Yep, that was my purpose, One Tough Mother. So in August of 2016, I walked away from my corporate job. It was done. I was over with it. I walked away from the world of creating and the world of corporate structure to concentrate 100% on One Tough Mother. I saw the need. Women needed my help and needed to find each other to hear stories and life lessons, and I wanted to be that catalyst. So I took my career and put it in a well-worn leather box and closed it up and put it at the top of my closet and never looked back. So, in order to make money while I was unemployed and to get my One Tough Mother off the ground, I decided to do odd jobs. I was always very good at doing just about every kind of odd job you could think of. So my first one was I painted a house. I painted the exterior of a 3-story house, which was a lot of fun. I spent a couple months standing on scaffolding, painting someone's house. I worked with a friend. We did firewood. We'd go to places and pull big logs out or branches, and we were like loggers, and we'd pull them out and we'd cut them up, and we'd take them back, and then we'd get them ready as firewood, and we'd stack them and deliver to people's homes. I did anything I could think of. I actually had a client. I helped them do some marketing, labeling, and advertising for a product they were coming out with, which was fun. It was kind of getting back into the corporate world a little bit, but I was more of a consultant at that point, which was fun because I do miss that a little bit. And then I ran into an old friend, and I'd seen her on the internet, and I didn't realize at the time that she was having issues, and I spoke to her and she didn't sound right. So I asked her to meet me for lunch, and we met, and she was from radio and television, and she loved what One Tough Mother was about. And she said, well, how can I help you? And I said, I want a radio show. I want to help as many women as I can, and I want a radio show. And she said, look, I'll get you the meeting at CBS, and you go in and see what can happen. So I went into CBS and I spoke to them, and I explained to them what I was doing and how important it was for women around the world. And they gave me a podcast. They said, get ready and let us see what you can do. So I took One Tough Mother Lisa, who was my friend who got me the meeting, and she introduced me to One Tough Mother Gail, who was from the music industry. She worked at Epic Records for years, and we started the One Tough Mother podcast, the One Tough Mother show. And then in August of this year, 2017, it kicked off, and it's just been a tremendous ride. And so for all those people who said, how are you going to make money? You going to sell t-shirts the rest of your life? What? You're in your 50s, you're going to start over? Yeah, I'm going to start over. And the show has just been phenomenal. The people that come on the show, the women that reach out to us, it's just amazing. So the One Tough Mother show is about inspiring, elevating, and empowering other women. It's women from different industries or different walks of life giving their real life lessons on how they got through what they got through or how they got to where they are. We've had amazing guests. We've had from day one, we had our first guest was Sherry Poe. Sherry Poe was actually named Entrepreneur of the Decade with Richard Branson. Sherry was raped in college, but she went on to start Rika Shoe, which is the first female running shoe. We've had Corinne Fox, Jamie Foxx's daughter, who does a lot with modeling and acting, but she's also the voice of anxiety, and she works with the National Mental Health Association. We've had Jen Welter, first female NFL coach. She's amazing. She has a great story, a great backstory as to what she's done. Every single woman that has come on has just been the most inspiring person. We had supermodel Emmy, and she talks about body image. We had, just this past week, one of my favorites, we had Kathleen Meredith from Fat Girls Dance. If you go on the internet and you go on YouTube and you put in Fat Girls Dance, their story is just incredible. She's just a light. She's the funniest, and she's a wonderful, wonderful woman. We've had women that have come on that have had breast cancer, and how they've gotten through it. Just you imagine, you can only imagine it's happened. I mean, we love the women, and we invite anyone that has an amazing backstory to come on. I always say that whether you realize it or not, the lessons you've learned in your life can help so many other people. And by stepping out of your comfort zone and by sharing your real life lessons with other women, it helps so many of us and so many other women get to where they want to be. Don't be afraid to tell your story. Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. If something's happening that you need help with, or if you have something that you can help someone else with, please, please, um, do help each other. Reach out to each other. Imagine how unbelievably powerful the world could be if women all bonded together. That's what One Tough Mother is all about. One Tough Mother is about inspiring each other, in elevating each other, and empowering each other. And we always say you don't have to be a mother, Mother, to be one tough mother, because it's all about you. I, hands down, the most exciting thing that I have going on right this moment is our podcast, our CBS radio podcast. It's an amazing show. Being from production and having a great producer like Seth, and having Lisa's background in television and radio, and having Gail from Epic Records, we've formatted our show like a true radio show. So unlike, some podcasts, people are like, oh, it's more like a radio show, but we spend a lot of time on it. We spend a lot of time making sure women get to hear what they want to hear, and interviewing extremely interesting women who have reached out and want to be on the show. And every day I get more and more emails of women saying, don't be on once a week. I can't wait until next week. Be on every day. Can you be on every day? So guess what? Maybe the next thing is I'm going to work on a radio show. Let me think. I admire a lot of really great women, but to be honest with you, celebrity status and professional sports figures never really were my gig. I've worked with a lot of celebrities and a lot of professional sports figures, and by rights, what they do is amazing, and that is their job. However, that's never really been something that's been what I admire. I think it's crazy to say this, and I hope she doesn't think I'm stalking her, because I do reach out to her from time to time, but I think women like Madonna Badger. I think Madonna Badger is an incredible, incredible woman. Madonna Badger works for Badger and Winters in New York City, which is an agency, and she's just faced so much in her personal life and so much in her life in general, and she goes on and she still contributes, and she makes an enormous difference in people's lives. And I love Madonna's Badger's Women Not Object campaign. I think that campaign, that advertising campaign, was just tremendous. And I think to have faced the things that you face in your personal life and to continue on, that truly makes you somebody that should be admired. It's truly somebody that should be a hero, or looked at as a hero, because they just keep helping other people by moving forward in their own lives, even when it's very difficult, through some difficult times. So it's definitely Madonna Badger. And I'm not stalking you, I swear. By all means, One Tough Mother helps women around the world. I've sent shirts to Japan, Australia, Canada, all the European countries, Brazil, and most of the states of the United States, helping bond women together, helping women realize that everybody struggles, everybody has issues. Nobody's the best mother in the world. I stink at it sometimes. Sometimes I'm the worst mother in the world. Sometimes I'm not the best friend in the world or the best daughter in the world. Everybody has times when it's hard. And listening to other people and hearing other people's stories and hearing other people's real life lessons is what really makes community. It's storytelling, it's history, and it's learning from other people's experiences. So I think that's how the One Tough Mother show helps the world, is by building an enormous community, the Tough Mother Army. So the 5 things that I wish someone had told me when I first started, and I'm probably going to glance down at my paper on these because these are pretty important to me. The first one would definitely be, people can only treat you the way you allow them to treat you, and people can only talk to you the way you allow them to talk to you. So don't allow people to treat you badly. Don't allow people to speak to you disrespectfully. If that happens, you don't have to engage. You don't have to stand there and argue or fight, walk away, leave. You don't have to deal with it. So remember that people can only treat you and only can speak to you the way you allow. So don't allow disrespect. Number two would be not everyone's kind. Not everyone is going to be happy. Not everyone's going to do something out of the goodness of their heart. Whatever the case is, everybody has a battle. So don't let that kill your mojo. Don't let that get under your skin. Don't make their bad attitude and their bad day be part of yours. And number three is definitely everybody has a struggle. Everybody has a story. Believe me when I tell you, I've lived all over the world as a military wife or a former military wife, and worked with people all over the world, and everybody has a story. Everybody has a struggle. So you have to take that in consideration when you talk to people, and take that in consideration when you see how they're acting. Number four is definitely life is for living. Life is for living. You don't have to be stuck in a job you don't want to be stuck in. You don't have to be stuck in a relationship, or you don't have to be stuck ever anywhere. Life is for living. Learn. There's so many things out there, and you have the absolute best tool, which is the internet. Learn. Spend time learning. Ask people if you don't know how to do it. Just try everything. Just learn and try as much as you can, because life is for living. Life is for getting out there, not standing somewhere you don't want to be or doing something you don't want to be. Everybody has a time in their life when they have some struggle, or children, or financially they can't change things. Make a change. A small change can take you a big way. Learn something different. Learn something new. Try. Just try. Number five would be the end game for us all is the same. Don't have regrets. We all have the same end game. We're all going to end the same way. Life does not go on forever. So do things that you're going to be proud of. Do things that you want your children and your grandchildren to speak about. Do things that you can hold your head above and be happy that you've done. Help other people. Be kind. Smile at the person who's pumping your gas in the rain, or open the door for the woman who's pushing the baby stroller. Be kind. We all end the same way. Life does not go on forever. So don't regret the things that you did. Be kind to one another. Okay, so if I could meet anybody or have a cup of coffee with them, anybody in the world, I definitely think it would be, and I'm not stalking you. I swear I'm not, but you can be on my show if you'd like. I'd love to have you on the show, but I'm not stalking you. Madonna Badger. I think that her creativity just blows my mind. I love her projects, the projects that she does. I mean, she's the epitome of a tough mother. She persevered through tremendous personal tragedy and continues to go on every day and do stuff that is meaningful, do stuff that is important, and do stuff that is empowering. So yes, it would definitely be Madonna Badger. I'd love to have a glass of wine with her, or a cup of coffee with her, or just speak to her personally on the phone and just tell her that I think she's amazing. She is truly what one tough mother is all about. She is one tough mother. So in closing, I wanted to say thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for asking me to interview. Thank you for helping me get my video done. Thank you for getting One Tough Mother noticed and out there. It's really important. It's important to all the women who write me, and all the women who live with domestic violence or rape or breast cancer, single moms that don't know where to turn. It's just a really important platform, and I appreciate the fact that you've asked me, and I appreciate the fact that you've made this concession to help me with my video. So I want to say a really true and personal thank you. And if you ever want to have a glass of wine, let me know. I'd be happy to meet with you. And hey, I'll even buy. Have a great night.